Tuesday, welcome into lcpioneers.com live, presented by PioStream, as we are with you 4 days a week, Tuesday through Friday, 11:30 a.m. Pacific Time on Facebook Live, and available to watch on demand on our website Inside the Fan Zone at lcpioneers.com, and of course on our YouTube page, youtube.com/lcpios, as we keep you connected with student athletes, coaches, alumni, and members from throughout the Lewis and Clark College community. Hi everyone, I'm Ryan Goff. I'm the play-by-play voice and director of athletic communications for Lewis and Clark, the Pioneers based out of Portland, Oregon, and members of the Northwest Conference, competing with a total of 9 institutions in all throughout Northwest Oregon and the state of Washington, and a chance for our 19 intercollegiate athletics programs on the national stage with over 430 institutions competing at the NCAA Division III level. A chance for our student athletes, like I said, to be on that national stage, and in non-pandemic times, certainly a chance for an experiential liberal arts education with a robust overseas studies program that Lewis and Clark College provides. We are now in our second year, but just entering our 10th month of bringing you this program that you can stay in touch with at lcpioneers.com/live. And our guest today in just a few moments will be Julia Barsocchini. Excited to talk to the junior from women's basketball about some things that may be happening in the future, and then also certainly look back at the fall 2020 semester. Lewis and Clark women's basketball will not be competing in the 2020-21 academic year, but that information didn't come across until the middle part of December. So as the team prepared for what could be a season, what might not be a season, what was that like from a firsthand perspective? And especially because Julia is part of this key junior class for women's basketball that came in a high quantity of freshmen their first year, really made strides in 2019-20. So I'm eager to kind of get perspective of what they were expecting going into what would have been her junior year this year, and then how the team is dealing with the fact that there will be no competition in 2020-21. That said, we do keep you updated with everything that is going on related to COVID and athletics at Lewis and Clark. You can go to our website, lcpioneers.com/COVID. That is our landing page for updates. Right now, high-risk athletics at Lewis and Clark will not have competition in 2020-21. That means football and both men's and women's basketball. Any other updates pertaining to other sports, the NCAA, the Northwest Conference, available on that landing page. And then, of course, we want to see you get involved in the program. You can do so by shouting us out in the Facebook Live comments. Already see 5 people watching with us today. Really appreciate taking the time to join us on Facebook Live. And then you can always find us sports@lclark.edu if you have a suggestion for a future guest or someone else that you want to see on the show. We certainly encourage you to do so there. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram. Both of those platforms, LC Pioneers is our handle. We certainly encourage you to reach out so that we can keep in touch with you on that platform. And as I mentioned, our website is updated with the latest information. Winterim is going on right now. It is an event, a week-long event between fall and spring semester that is hosted by the Bates Center for Entrepreneurship and Leadership. And it's neat this year because several sessions, including a session coming up today at 1 p.m. Pacific time, is open to the public. Turning in a pandemic into something that is kind of nice. You had an opportunity to get involved with something maybe you might not otherwise be able to do. You can see it on your screen now, the Winterim program that runs for a week in between the 2 semesters. Alumnus Carl Guest will present how to present so people remember what you said. That starts at 1 o'clock today, and you can register by going to lcpioneers.com and clicking on that Winterim story. Tomorrow and Friday, there are also sessions, including the student pitch competition that happens on Friday. You can find that at lcpioneers.com, and we are keeping our playlists on YouTube updated with this show, a chance for you to keep in touch with student athletes, coaches, alumni, and different members from the community. That playlist also available in our fan zone at lcpioneers.com. Well, thanks for taking the time to join us, and we bring in our guest for today, a junior for Lewis and Clark women's basketball. Excited to bring in Julia Barsocchini to the show. And Julia, like I said, it's been an interesting and unknown fall 2020 semester, unlike I'm sure many have ever experienced in college. So as we kind of get to the tail end of winter break and we move into spring 2020, I kind of just want to get a gauge for how you're doing. How was your winter break? What was unusual about it, perhaps? And then what are you looking forward to as you head into your spring semester?
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on. It's definitely been a challenge, but I think me and the rest of my team has been making the most of the resources that we have had over the break. For me personally, I was home for a while. I was home for about a month and I just got back yesterday. in my apartment in Lake Oswego. And home was really great. It was awesome to be with the family. I was very, very grateful and lucky to have uh, gym access. Everything was moved outside at our gym, which is really nice. And there was a park like 5 minutes from my house. So I was lucky enough to be able to go there to shoot around and still continue to put in some work.
Now, when you look at this fall semester that you just got done with practices, and again, a lot of that unknown, nobody really knew what to expect with the upcoming 2020-21 season, and now we do know. What was fall practice like? What were some of the good parts that came out of getting your team together and having practice? What were some of the more difficult parts?
Yeah, so our practices, they were, I mean, we were just so lucky to be able to even be in a gym because most of us hadn't been able to have gym access at all. And just the fact that we were all there together, playing, being able to be coached, that was just amazing to still be able to do that. The practices were non-contact, so basically our team would be split in half to social distance, and we would switch after an hour, and we would do a mix of just like shooting drills, ball handling, 5-on-0, just anything non-contact related. So
And this is a team that we saw a lot of growth out of in the 2019-20 season. So I'm sure some optimism heading into what would have been your junior season. When you look at being part of the women's basketball program at Lewis and Clark, what have been some of the highlights for you so far?
well, as you mentioned, we have a huge junior class. Um, I think it's like 6 girls, and just having that and having that like team camaraderie, like we became a family in like so fast. Like it was so easy to get along with the girls, and that's something that I'm not really used to. In high school, I didn't really have that with my team, and so coming into this and just having everybody be so welcoming and understanding and supportive, it was so different than what I'm used to. And that was just an automatic click, like I'm supposed to be here. This is my team. And that was just amazing to have.
We're talking to Julia Barsocchini on the show, junior for women's basketball at Lewis and Clark. And you're from Agora Hills, California, and you decided to come to the Pacific Northwest to compete. And as you mentioned, with that high quantity class that you're part of it as now a junior at Lewis and Clark, what ultimately led you to choose to compete for the Pioneers?
Yeah, so it's kind of a funny story, but I Lewis and Clark was actually the only school that I applied to out of state. And I think it's just kind of funny that I ended up here because I thought I wanted to be, somewhere sunny, like what I'm used to. But at the same time, I wanted to get out of Agora for a while, and I wanted a change, and I wanted something different. And my aunt also lives in downtown Portland, like 10 minutes from campus. So she is somebody that I've gotten a lot closer with since being here. And I really am glad to have family here in Portland. And also just the coaching staff reached out a lot. They were very consistent with me, always sending me things in the mail, texting, reaching out. So that was also huge. I think they did a really good job recruiting, and more so than any of the other schools that I was looking to for basketball. So that also played a huge part in going to LC.
When you think about the campus and the surrounding area, whether you're going to downtown Portland or you mentioned an apartment in Lake Oswego, which is just down the hill from where Lewis and Clark's campus is, what are some of the neater experiences that you've had the opportunity as you've explored campus or the surrounding area?
Yeah, it's definitely been tough right now during COVID just because everything's closed. But I mean, previously, my friends and I would go downtown. We would love exploring downtown and trying we would want to get off campus to do homework a lot of the time. So we'd go to like different coffee shops and just kind of explore new restaurants. I feel like I rarely go to the same restaurant twice anymore because there's so many things to try, and so many good places to eat. So I still have yet to experience all of that, but it's been awesome. And then the campus, I love that it's like you're in a forest, but then you're like 10 minutes from the city. So that's just huge. And I feel like not a lot of the colleges in our conference have that sort of environment. So that also plays a huge role. I love that.
You described the city, and Lewis and Clark is the only Northwest Conference institution in a city of 500,000 or larger. So it is really a unique opportunity, just 6 miles from downtown Portland. You also described to us what it was like from having that class and that immediate group of friends that you were able to bond with. When you look more at the basketball aspect from 2019-20, what were some of the things that happened on the floor that you really felt were reasons for optimism heading into what would have been this season?
Well, I want to say like almost all of our games we had, if we did lose, we lost by like less than 10 points. So we were in all of those games. Like we always fought, we always had it in us, and I feel like that is just so optimistic for our team, and seeing how much we can improve. And it really is a bummer because I feel like this season would have been different and it would have been really, really good. Um, but it just gives us another opportunity to get better and prepare for our next season. I think that especially having so many older girls, um, I think that it's gonna be pretty good. And then we also have a bunch of freshmen, a bunch of new freshmen this year, so they'll be able to get more practice in for their sophomore year when it comes to jumping into season. So I think it's going to look pretty good.
Yeah, you can meet some of the new first year students on the website. Go to lcpioneers.com, click on women's basketball. We do have their names listed there since we haven't had a chance to meet them in person with the pandemic. But I admire you so much because I will go into Pamplin Sports Center and Julia will be shooting baskets somewhere on that floor at all time. In any given academic year, how many shots do you think you take?
In a year,
I know. It's so
I don't
many.
I don't even know. I try and get at least like maybe 1 to 200 a day. So
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
calculate that out into a year.
I mean, seriously, at this point, we just got to look at getting you like a dorm room somewhere that's in the gym, and then you would be at your residence while you're shooting. But no, I admire your hard work. You're one of my favorite people to get to see in the gym, and always putting up shots. You're always there with some teammate too. So why is it important for you, and why are you so dedicated to making sure that you get those shots in?
Yeah, I feel like being in the gym, I almost love the training and the grind more than like the games. And I know that's insane to say, but that's just what keeps me going. It motivates me. It gives me so much more confidence. Like just shooting around, like it puts me at ease. Like it just I just love the training aspect of it. Um and the confidence booster and the self-esteem, it helps me so much knowing that like it just helps me like immensely in games and in practices. Like I feel more confident in my shooting the more reps I get up. And then shooting with other people as well just makes it more fun and faster. Like I'll get more reps up shooting with other people. So whoever's in the gym, I'll just ask them to shoot with me. Um, so yeah.
We're talking to Julia Barsocchini on the show, Junior for Women's Basketball. You can join us Tuesday through Friday, 11:30 a.m. Pacific Time on Facebook Live, and then all of our past shows available to watch on demand. They're usually posted sometime about mid-afternoon after the show at youtube.com/lcpios or inside the fan zone at lcpioneers.com. Julia, you have had an opportunity to coach youth basketball in a variety of ways. Describe what that experience has been like for you.
It honestly, it's so rewarding. It's so great being able to help people. That's kind of what I want to do, is just like be able to help people, to help kids. And it's taught me so much about like leadership and like kind of taking control in that way. And I've gotten the experience to coach elementary school kids, and just as well as kids with special needs. So that has been very, very rewarding, and it's definitely challenging on both aspects. But like, I've been getting a lot of practice with it um, over the years, and I just love. It's fun for me. It's fun seeing the kids and playing with the kids, and I love everything about it.
And you decided to declare as a psychology major. With that academic program in mind, what were some of the things that lured you toward that degree program? And as you enter your third to last semester, as the spring 2020 rolls around next week, what are some of the classes that you're really looking forward to down the road?
Yeah, so being a psychology major, I think I've always known I wanted to be a psychology major, which is rare because I feel like a lot of people end up kind of changing their majors. Um, but I think I'm very interested in like learning how my own mind works and how to like grow my mind in that way, and understanding the psychological subjects behind that is honestly, it's helping me in basketball too, like in life and in basketball. And it's just, I've been able to share with my teammates too, and help in that way. I feel like in that like leadership way. And the classes that I'm looking forward to right now, I'm taking a clinical psychology class. And I'm really looking forward to that because there's one class on Friday where we're going to be put into groups, and it's going to be like a therapy simulation. So like one person is the therapist and one person is the patient, and it's going to be like a simulation kind of. So I'm really looking forward to that and learning more about that.
Yeah, I mean,
So
that sounds incredibly intriguing. I would
yeah,
love to text me. Let me know how that goes because that sounds like a pretty cool event. And speaking of cool, I mean, the whole point is to earn a degree at Lewis and Clark, and obviously explore what your future will be post graduation. And part of that's internship opportunities. My understanding is you do have a potential opportunity that could happen after the spring semester. Give us an idea of what that will be.
I do. So before this internship, I was doing so much research trying to find something related to maybe sports, related to psychology. Like, I wasn't really sure. But I have also given the opportunity. My uncle, he lives in San Diego, and he owns and started the whole Pura Vida bracelets. It's like a bracelet company, and they've been making a bunch of different accessories now. Um, to bags they paired with Vera Bradley um, accessories, and their business is flourishing right now. But he has given me an opportunity to possibly intern for him down in San Diego over the summer, and I was actually going to do it last summer and work in the events, but due to COVID, all the events got canceled and they moved online. So it wasn't the best fit for me for last summer. But I'm just lucky enough to be able to potentially do it again this summer. They're still not really sure if it's going to be online or in person, but they are building a brand new office. So they're in the process of doing that. So if I have the opportunity to work in that office for them, not necessarily with events, but anything I would be willing to help out with, because it would just be such a great opportunity for me. And living in San Diego is ideal in the sunshine. So
I was gonna
excited about that.
I was gonna say there's not many worse places to live than San Diego, California, for sure.
Right.
Well, I hope, of course, I'm rooting that the pandemic can be settle down as quickly as possible, which means then you might have that opportunity sooner than later. But what I do appreciate right now is you taking time to join us. I saw at least Jessica Cerny in the Facebook Live watching along with us, one of your teammates. It was really good to see you, and I appreciate your time. Julia Barsocchini, thank you so much for joining us on lcpioneers.com live.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. You're very welcome. Fun conversation and neat opportunities too. And I kid you not, there are a few people I see, few student athletes I see in the Pamplin Sports Center gym shooting than Julia. And you can see it pay off. You can see her able to overcome some of the slumps that happen when you're a student athlete. And I remember talking to her halfway through last season saying the work ethic's going to pay off, and you could really see it take off toward the end of that year, much like the women's basketball program entirely. And for head coach Christina Williams and her team, it's so disappointing that in 2020-21 there will be no competition, at least for high-risk sports, and we will continue to update you with everything that's going on related to COVID on our website, lcpioneers.com/COVID. Those are athletic-specific updates. So anything that's regarding the NCAA, the Northwest Conference, or any of our 19 intercollegiate athletics programs, you can find it on our website, lcpioneers.com/COVID. So from Julia, we advance over to cross country. We'll talk tomorrow. I think I said Tuesday at the top of the show. It's odd that I don't have a Tuesday show, but obviously today is Wednesday. And so on Thursday, we'll talk to the coaching staff of cross country. We've already had Matthew Burrow, the head coach, join us twice. In fact, was our very first guest on the show. And we've rounded the horn now as we try to at least have one of our head coaches on each week with lcpioneers.com live. But we'll also talk to alumnus and now assistant coach from the cross country program, Emily Thomas, who is the third fastest all time in Lewis and Clark women's cross country history. So we'll talk to both of them tomorrow. And then on Friday, Drew Groshong will join us, the class of 2017 men's golfer who won the Northwest Conference Fall Classic, I think as a sophomore, and has gone on to help the Lewis and Clark golf program as an assistant coach. And you can see next week too, we'll have more of our student athletes and coaches, and in that case, Scott's alumnus on the show as well. So you can find all of our past shows at youtube.com/lcpios. It was a fun conversation. Thanks again to Julia for joining us. It was good to see those who are watching along with us on Facebook Live. So eager, of course, as soon as it's able to be done safely to get back to the schedules that we see year in and year out. It kind of dawned on me as I had Julia on the show today that, about this time we'd be getting into the full swing of winter sports. I mean, we'd have the rest of the swimming season. We'd have most of the basketball conference games happening this month, and clearly not going to be the case right now, but all those updates available on our website. And it was good to catch up with Julia, and good to see you as well. Thank you for joining us. I'm Ryan Goff. We'll see you again tomorrow for more of the show, lcpioneers.com live. Until then, goodbye, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
I'm Ann Bentley. I'm an associate professor of chemistry, and in this research group, I supervise the 2 students working in the Rogers program this summer in our lab. The brown bag experience is a good chance for students to get experience presenting their work that they've done in the lab, especially to an audience that's not technical.
What's intriguing about the brown bag experience is it incorporates all of the Rogers program. So I'm able to hear people in the psychology department and what research they're doing, but it also gives us the opportunity to share our research with the greater science community at Lewis and Clark. And for incoming students, the summer program is really beneficial for getting opportunity in research. So I've had the opportunity for research in the past, but other students may not have the same opportunities. So it's nice to work in a professional lab setting and potentially have the opportunity to publish a paper, which looks really good moving on into doing professional research out in the field.
The students grow a lot during the summer in their ability to learn the techniques and apply the techniques and suggest their own ideas for what could come next and interpret their data. It's just a big, usually if they haven't done research before, they learn a lot in that short period of time.
I think everyone should take Intro to Chemistry because the chemistry department here is phenomenal. Everyone I've known has had a good experience with everyone in that department, so I think it's a worthwhile course to take.
What is one class that everyone should take at Lewis and Clark? I really enjoyed Education in a Complex World. You kind of get to discuss all the issues that exist within education today, and you get to kind of explore that by going to classrooms firsthand and volunteering with children, which I thought was a really wonderful experience.
One class that everybody should take at Lewis and Clark is anything with Kundai Chirindo. I think he definitely changed how I thought about rhetoric and media studies and just education in general.
For me, it was international affairs, just intro to international affairs, because I think it really gives a good perspective on important issues around the world.